I don't know what to expect with this. I have relived my story today. Yesterday, I did the Ontario Police Review Board, which was useless. Um, and it's just actually very traumatizing for me when I try to think about what happened in my life. And I think people don't give enough credit to the effect of trauma or being actively traumatized or having meltdowns or the current narratives in society about people who are traumatized and expected to behave nicely and with all this like politeness when they're completely fed up with everybody and having to relive their story over and over and over and over again and getting nowhere and nobody taking accountability, nobody fixing it at first point of contact, everybody telling you that they don't have time or you have to deliver it this way for me to respect you, like telling me that I don't deserve service because I'm swearing everywhere I go. Okay, that's gonna end. So I don't know what to expect from this. I have already delivered a lot of information to your office. I don't know who's looked at what. I don't know what kind of, I would expect somebody to have reviewed all of it, but there's like 100 gigabytes of information. And I clearly do not want to narrate myself anymore because in the evidence that you will see, people.
Where should we see?
Mom, hold on, I'm on the phone. The narrative that I constantly get from people is that they discredit me and, because I have autism, people think that I'm exaggerating, making things up, living in this imaginary land, or I can't speak for myself, which is crazy. I didn't have this problem before I disclosed or found out that I had autism in university, so there's definitely a very big contrast between how I'm treated today as to before, and I went to university like 27. So that's a very alarming thing, and I really regret coming out as autistic. Really quite a bit. And I talk to other people that have autism, and we all have the same struggle. And we have a lot of other people that are not autistic speaking for us and telling us that they have enough training for us, but they don't. And they don't understand what it's like to have a meltdown. And there's like a communication barrier. And I have a very blunt tone and I say things very quick and harshly. And a lot of neurotypicals can't handle it. But like I get along with autistic people just fine. Like they actually appreciate it. So, there's like a dialogue disconnect between people that do not have autism and then people who have autism. Yeah, and that's really frustrating. And you have people that don't have autism speaking for us and creating policies for us. And even I have issues now with the Human Rights Tribunal with the last message I have from whatever her name is, who I have absolutely no respect for at all. So yeah, I don't know what to say. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm just I'm just trying to, I wanted you to, tell me what you needed to tell me, and then
Okay.
Ask what you need from us.
And I,
The Legal Support Center.
I apologize too because, I called you white, and I just want to make sure that I think that it's very important that everybody understands the conflicts even within our own culture. And I have been hand selected over people who look native because I am white passing, and my mother is not. And my mother has been racially profiled her entire life. And I know a lot of people who have as well. And so I know that of the advancements I have. And so I know that whenever I got a job or got into a place for using my Métis status, everybody selected me because I was the one that could assimilate. And you look around, and the whole team is all people that look as white as possible. And so it's like you look at the people who are taking away the roles from people who are actually that need them, and I felt really ashamed of that of myself. And I look around at all of these positions of people who are saying that they are First Nations, but they are not the ones who need these roles, who are struggling with the racism and the cultural barriers and things like that. So it's frustrating, and that's the tone that I meant. And I don't know you at all, but I have been extremely fucking traumatized. Like I still am. Like, and I don't want to. I don't want to relive more of my life. Like, I should have a lawyer. The fact that the Ontario justice system tells me that I'm too much, or that they don't have time for me, when I have exhausted, beyond exhausted, like I have embarrassed the Ontario justice system with my story. When you take a look at my evidence, if you have not already, for the last 2 years, I have been contacting lawyers across this province to represent me. I got one. His work was embarrassing, and I mean, it was good for a bit, but I had to do a lot of the talking, and I was not listened to, and there was a lot that was hidden from me, and I have a lot of complaints about him as well. And the other quality is people do not, I reached out first to all these really great ones everywhere. That was really embarrassing because they just basically all ignored me. And then I started going to the Law Society referral program, who are people that are actually available for work. And, I just like exhausted that. And I just called the Law Society. I'm now like dealt with the manager there, whatever her name is, Christine O'Neill. And I'm just like, I can't get a lawyer. Every single one that this referral program sends me to tells me that they don't have time all of a sudden. That and I'm like, I know what that feels like. It's like it's not you, it's me. I've heard that bullshit my whole life. Like, I know what discrimination is. I feel deprived. I feel deprived from justice. My landlord is a total psychopath with the things that I have on record of her doing, and she's represented just fine. I look around at all these fucking criminals that are represented just fine, and I'm a fucking, very vulnerable person, and people don't want to touch me because it's too much work. No, I'm sorry. You signed up to serve justice. That's a human right. You don't get to pick and choose. And doctors, same story. Picking and choosing, telling me I'm too much, telling me my tone is too much, telling me I need to deliver what I need in a more appropriate manner or I'm going to be kicked out of the hospital. I've been escorted out of the hospital twice by police. I've been ripped off my hospital bed for things that I cannot access another doctor for, because Healthcare Connect has been searching for a doctor for me for 3 years now, and every time they send me to one, those doctors tell me that I am too much or they don't have training in autism. And then people tell me at the Autism Ontario Society that autism ends at 18, and not a single public service has ever responded to something that I have emailed them for, other than this one time on Facebook when they replied and said, oh, you're over 18, we don't respond to people over 18, or something along those lines. Yeah, okay. Anyways, so obviously I'm really fed up with the system, and I should be rightfully upset. And people who tell me that I am expected to behave a certain way in order for me to deserve someone to fix the reasons why I am the way that I am is just the most oppressive fucking shit I've ever heard in my life. Okay? You need to ask yourself, why is he this angry? How can I help him? What can I do to fix that? This is your job, in my opinion. The accommodations that I need, I have to stop narrating my evidence. It is so redundant, and I feel like I'm doing the work for you twice. In fact, I've done the work a million times. You will see that in all of these recordings. And it's actually, in my personal opinion, I have no doctor to prove this, but I believe it is definitely decreasing my life expectancy. So, I cannot keep doing this. It is all prepared by date. All of it. What I need to do, which I've started to do slowly, I have submitted 2 forms that are of urgent matter related to my landlord. Something happened. I don't know who happened. I need to get to the bottom of that because transparency is key. I should not be learning. Like, I don't know how things work, but I don't know who I complained to because there were a lot of people. From the director of the Ontario Landlord Tenant Board, emailing him. Like, I emailed a lot of people. Housing minister, you guys, police review board, police. I've been just really going at that one because that one has been affecting me for the last 18 months. And it changed recently. And it's a huge difference. And there's actually like a smile on my face because for the first time in so fucking long, because I actually feel like I'm being treated equally by the person who governs my house, my roof, which has been, the threat of my roof has been extremely difficult, especially for me, who's someone who has struggled with homelessness my whole life. With my mom and on my own. So, that was a huge trigger for me and something that I did not expect and something that was not in my control and had a lot to do with the discrimination of autism, which I've had enough of. And we need to get to the bottom of this because this is at the fault of our education, health, and justice system. And it just keeps getting smacked in my face. And you may not be part of many autistic communities, but I am. And I've seen enough. I've seen enough. So, and it's, there's one thing when you see it on TV and you try and prepare for it if it happens to you. And the second thing is, when it happens to you. And then the third thing is, when it happens to you and you try and fix it and everybody fucking laughs at you. Or tells you that you must be lying. So the evidence is there. It speaks for itself. Okay, I would not waste anybody's time. Ever. I would not put my life at risk with lies on the stand. I would not falsify information to risk everything that I have worked on to get where I am. I do not want to keep narrating the evidence that I have that speaks for itself. Please review it. I have all of it there, quite easily accessible on a Google Drive. I prefer to view it by thumbnails, visually. You don't even have to look at everything. It's quite quick. It shows my character. It shows all of the things that I've had to deal with that make me who I am today and where all of these triggers come from. And all of the system barriers that I've had throughout my entire life that are completely unjust, which have created this anger inside that exists today, and this real focus that I have to stop it from happening to other people because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing other people dealing with it. I'm tired of dealing with myself. I'm tired of seeing this in the news. All of it. And I hit a lot of different communities. So it's a lot of information. And there's a lot of problems. And I'm discriminated for being gay in the healthcare system too many times to count. I'm a sex worker. I'm gay. I have been treated like a disease so many times I can't even count. It's crazy. People put on like 3 pairs of gloves sometimes. Have you ever done that? Has anyone ever done that to you? Like, I don't know if you can answer that, but like, no. And they drill you about your sexual relationships, and then they put on 3 gloves, and I'm like, what? Okay, do you do this with every male that comes in here? Or just the faggots? I don't even tell them I'm a sex worker. Oh my god, that would be a whole nother level. They'd probably fire me. Like, I don't think you understand. I'm autistic as well. My father is schizophrenic. I've had to suffer from a lot of those injustices. My mom has been a single mother. I've seen her racially profiled my whole life. There were so many instances with the police that that have really created this narrative for me with the London Police Services. And I've lived all over Ontario, and there's only one officer in London that I can speak highly of, and she retired early. So I don't know if that says anything about the services here, but there is a lot to say, and there's evidence that I'm trying to pull for myself, and I shouldn't be doing this either. Like, I should be able to heal, and I should have like a team of lawyers, like, naturally. And it's interesting because I've talked to lawyers outside of Ontario, even like BC, for example. I've talked to lawyers in the States. I've talked to lawyers in Europe, and they're actually just completely shocked. I tell them like quick narratives of what's going on, and they're like, "You don't have a lawyer? Like, you don't have lawyers fighting over you?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Oh my god, like, you should have a team of lawyers." Like, and I'm like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah, you would have had a team of lawyers by now. You would have literally had everyone that you needed, and it would have been dealt with. And if you have the evidence to back all of this up, which I do, which nobody is willing to look at, they just want to discredit me as some crazy autistic person, like, everywhere I go. And I've even had people tell me that they think that I have, like, falsified information that I've provided with evidence. Like, that's how far people think that I would go, which I think is just absolutely the most manipulative bullshit I've ever seen to get out of doing your job. Or like the National Student Loan Services Center, the director there tells me that they cannot look at anything online because there's a security risk. And so I've had to email the education minister and disability, whatever, accessibility minister, whatever name is, Carla, and be like, "Can you please tell me that this man doesn't have access to, like, a laptop that isn't on the system, that is not a risk at all, and can access a viewable, streamable drive. You don't even have to download anything. And can someone please tell me the risk?" Nobody's responded. I'm being treated like a fucking criminal, or worse, just a complete retard who can't even speak for himself. And what's the worth in living there? What is the worth? I look on the news and I see people with learning disabilities. "Oh, I'm sorry, you're not going to get a ventilator. We're not going to resuscitate you. If you get COVID, you're dead. So don't even bother calling the hospital." Yeah, okay. You know what? If autistics ruled the world and we just said everybody else was non-essential, there's a huge disconnect. And I'm over it. And I'm going to change the system. So either I do it by myself and get compensated for that, because I will charge like a fucking 5 times multiplier just because of the trauma that it causes to relive it and to do this personally. I could do this professionally for somebody else's life, no problem. And I'd be very empathetic, and I would do a really good job. And I have had very difficult clients in my past, and they've always loved me. I've always been the guy that they wait in line for. And it's interesting. If I have to do it myself, it's going to be really hard because I've already been doing it for myself for too long, and it's just meltdown after meltdown after meltdown and meltdown, and then I just become very ineffective, and people discredit me further, and it's just like a spiral of of it's just a waste of time, really. And if it ends up being a waste of time and I still end up feeling that my life is worthless, I'd like to find out why anybody would want to live, like, or stay in Canada. Like, should I seek refugee status? Is worthlessness okay? Like, that's basically what I feel, you know? Anyways.
So the issues with your landlord are being sorted out through the landlord-tenant board, or
No.
are you saying you don't know how?
No, I know how that works. Good question. Yeah, no, that is a three-way suit, apparently. So nobody handles everything together. So there'll be a civil lawsuit, and there will be a human rights lawsuit, and there will be a tenant board lawsuit. So she will be getting sued all three ways, which I've gotten advice for. And I've gotten advice from all of these boards as well, like, and from lawyers who don't want to represent me, but I've gotten lots of advice everywhere. And the Human Rights Tribunal is going to take a look at the human rights issues, the violations. The landlord and tenant board issue is going to deal with the contract that I signed here and fixing my house and making it more livable going forward, which I've already noticed recently. But and then there will be the civil claims. So for the criminal activity that the police do not want to do anything about. And I don't know who, like I said, there was a huge, like, change. Like, recently, there was a few new recordings. She was being really kind of aggressive with her presence on site again. And she's a bit of a bully, okay? She's a big bully. And I just reported her to the police for, again, I came to the conclusion, it's anyways, I can't relive this because this is too traumatizing for me. It's there, so people need to read it. Anyways, I'm going to jump over this part, but it's with the police. You can get that record, and I put it online. I recorded the statement that I made to the police. It is available. That is something happened a week or two after that, where I have not talked to her or seen her very much, and I reached out to her in a text message saying that, this is the third time that I've asked for a couple of these things. The first two times were early on, like right after the occurrence. She cut off my hose at the springtime, which is important for me. And the Christmas lights, she disconnected, and she'd like disconnect the outdoor outlet somehow so that I wouldn't be able to have... Anyways, she's been really destructive and spiteful. And so I've been asking for this, and then I finally just stopped asking for everything for a while. And then she picked up bullying, and then I reported the police to some other events that happened that I didn't have time to talk about earlier, or just too traumatized after, which was true. And a couple of weeks I asked her, I was like, this is the third time I've asked you to put the hose on, and I'm gonna, you either do it, or you're just showing the court that, you're just going out of your way to make my quality of life less, because my plants are really important. Like, I'm landscape architecture, design, horticulture, plants are like my life. And he knew that before I signed the lease, so it's not a surprise. And anyways, the text message is there. It's quite clear and she actually was just all one night, like night and day, just totally different person. Everything's getting fixed. She's getting the hose done. She's getting the lights done. There are a couple of other electrical things that I had questions about, like this commercial fan that is installed without approved standards above my bed, which is quite dangerous. And there's a couple knob and tube places that I think that she should get looked at. And yeah, so just like she's getting things done, there's leaks that I've talked to her about forever, and like, you need to get this dealt with. But she takes care of everything else. So she just, it's not like she doesn't take care of the house. She just chooses to ignore everything that I have been asking for. So I stopped paying rent for a lot of different times. Anyways, this is all available. I really hate narrating this, and I feel almost compulsive when I start going, and I don't know how to stop. And it's people don't understand the way that this kind of severe, complex trauma, meltdown, autism works. And it's like all of it at once. I start to look at one thing, and then it explodes into like 20 other things, and then I see it all at the same time, and I don't know what to talk about first, and it's all gets my heart going. My mouth gets really dry. My lips start sticking to my teeth. Like it physically affects me. Do you understand? Like it actually damages my heart. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So I need to like understand that I can give you all of this information, and somebody can create a file for me, or find me some lawyers, or get this case started for me so that I can go and talk to a judge and get my story straightened out. That's ultimately what I want. I want it to be done preferably in writing. As in, I would prefer this entire event be done from afar, from my home, if necessary. We can do video if necessary, but I don't want to sit there and narrate the evidence that I've collected. I'm not going to sit there and tell you what happened in a video recording that I have. Do you know what I mean? It's redundant. It's expecting the impossible out of somebody that's traumatized, who hasn't had a chance to heal at all. And it's just, I've done enough to prove my narrative. I've done my research. I've given all of the people that I'm suing all of the opportunity in the world to avoid litigation, to let them know what they're doing wrong and to stop it, or to let them know that I don't agree with what they're forcing me to do. So yeah, I've been very good at recording everything and doing my due diligence as somebody who, foresees potential legal matters in the future. And I've done everything I can to avoid legal matters by making them fully aware that I will take this to court if they don't stop. And they continue. And they leave me with no choice to do this. And it is because this is a win. I don't know how much experience you have in court, but I don't even have that much experience in court. But I know that my case is a win-win deal. When the judge is going to look at this girl and be like, "You were given every opportunity to stop doing this. It says right here that you can't do this. You signed it. You agreed to it. Why did you keep doing it? He told you he was going to sue you. Why did you keep doing it?" It's right here on the recording, ma'am. So, it's easy. This is easy for me. I have her recording, sticking her tongue out at the judge. And I don't care if she's better or not. I'm still getting this on public record. And the number one reason for me in going to court is so that people stop telling me that I'm the crazy one. I want people to be fully aware of all of the things that happened. I want it to be judged, adjudicated, looked at as what is okay and what is not okay, create policies to protect people like me, and move forward in society, not just for me, but for all of the new generation. And, this is something that I have struggled with, ever since I really came out as someone who is autistic, or put it on my badge. And I think I'm strong enough, I don't know, It's really pushed me over the edge a few times. I'll be honest. It's a miracle I'm still alive, really. But it's the badge of honor that really exposes me to a lot of discrimination that I share in every single community out there. People treat me as a threat. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know why? Do you know why?
Why?
Do you know why people with autism are treated like a threat?
No.
Because Columbine, school shootings, that guy who ran a bunch of women over in Toronto, they used autism as a defense criminally, which is incorrect. So narratives in the justice system and the use of autism to defend actions that are not solely, rooted in the fact that you have autism. People with autism have a lot of underlying personality disorders as well. People with autism can have psychopathic tendencies, are born with apathy, too much empathy. I have too much empathy, but I'm really insensitive because I've been through too much. Yeah, but it's a very big range of people, and the incidences of are rooted in more of social injustices as opposed to autism itself, which is a shame that people don't recognize that it's this constant bullying that you deal with for being different and autistic, or perhaps really smart, or I'm treated like a threat at work because I excel faster and I end up training everybody around me and doing better than everybody and working less than everybody, and people hate that, and people think I'm cheating, or like, what is he doing to be able to get all that work done and take 90-minute lunch break and just come in whenever he fucking wants. People look at me like that, and I have to fake it. Like, managers have come to me and said, Aaron, I get that you do better than everybody else, but like, you need to fake it because you give everybody else a bad look. And I'm like, excuse me? What? I've had managers tell me that they would rather somebody that is not so much like Stantec. They actually said, oh, people like that are, too much like yourself, we actually don't hire. We usually, and I'm like, you saw my resume. It was definitely indicative of too much. So you clearly don't understand. And that was in an HR meeting, of all places. So, anyways, it's a struggle, and the threats of my emotion. So I'm extremely volatile, I guess I've been called, eruptive. I've been called explosive, dangerous, psychotic. God, just because I have a physical response to something. I think everybody has a physical response, but the way that it works for me, and for a lot of people with autism, is that physical expense is quite high. It's like overload. It's our brain is connected more, our sensories are heightened. We have it. There are feelings inside, outside. Heart rate changes quite a bit. And it becomes very uncomfortable. And also with the brain connectivity, your brain learns faster in a good situation, but in a traumatic situation, it's like 10 times traumatizing for somebody because there's too much information and there's a lack of organization of that information, and it becomes disjointed and people don't understand. People don't know where to listen or what to do about it, and they panic and they say it's too much, and or they see that I'm getting really emotional about it. I see people, drawing back, which makes me panic even more. Or people start telling me that they don't have time, or I feel it in their tone, or I feel that people are impatient, and I just snap. Like I go off, and I already know that it's not going to go anywhere, and I just kill it. I just like, you know what, this is the way it's going to be. So you know what, I can't handle this anymore. You know what, fine. You're not committed. You're gonna tell me how to deliver something. You're gonna start directing me, or never being in my shoes. You're gonna start directing me. Okay, all right, this isn't gonna work. No. You're at least listening. This is good. But I hate talking about it. I really do. I just need to the files are really well organized. And all of these videos are going online to YouTube too. So it's a learning experience. And for me, I'm tired of people sweeping things under the rug. We get nowhere when someone is violated and it's not discussed in ways that we can prevent it from happening to others. I'm not going to settle. I'm not going the short route. I want it all put on public record. I'm willing to go the long mile. I'm willing to discuss everything that I've done. I know what I've done. I know everything I've done. I know every lie I've been forced to make by the system. I know every time that I had to choose to lie or I wouldn't survive because of discriminations within the system. I'd love to talk about those. How I had to get through school, how many times I have to lie about what I've had to do to get through school, the sex work, how ashamed I've been because of narratives in all of the systems, poor narratives that criminalize me when I'm not. I shouldn't even have to do that to get to school. Actually, I should have been funded enough. I should have been paid to fucking go to school, like they do in Europe. And it's so hard for me because recently I went to Europe. Somebody paid for it to keep me alive, actually, because I was very suicidal and I was about to die. And I was tired of fighting for my life. And he said, I'm going to buy you a ticket for a few months ahead to Copenhagen. And this will give you something to look forward to. And it will give you, hopefully, push, and it worked. Okay, I was like, first time to Europe, I've never been before. He paid for it. I didn't have to pay for anything. I was homeless, living in my car in between my ex. It was pretty bad. Okay. And so I get there and I learn, wow, all of the things that have ruined my life don't happen here, as much or at all. Like, really, the education thing is my lawsuit with the National Student Loan Service Center and the Ministry of Education is huge. And the justice system, I don't know if what I realized yesterday when I talked to the Ontario Police Review Board is that the problem that I have is beyond the police. It's beyond the Law Society referral program. It's beyond, this is the Ministry of Justice. This is like a very, very, very complex system that is all interwebbed with these outdated, obsolete policies and structure and where the money is invested and how it is spent, and it's just tragic, and it all needs to be changed. Everything. People need to be retrained. People need to have mandatory training every year. Like, money needs to be put in different places, and so part of my lawsuit is to not only sue. Like, I don't think it's like I don't want to spend a lot of my time doing this. I want to get in, tell my story. Them spend a lot of time on it. I've already spent enough time on this. Thank you very much. I'd rather do this all in writing. And I would like to start talking about ways to fix it and to provide my best solutions as somebody who has experienced the problem. Okay? And for more people who have firsthand experience with things. I can't speak for racism for people who have, I have Ojibwe. My mom, she has had a lot of experience with being racially profiled, but I have not. I can walk into a job and get whatever I want. I have blue eyes. I have blonde hair. My skin is really dark, but I look like a tanned white boy. So my dad is like white as fuck and really blonde hair and white eyes. And I have mixed race blood. I can see how well my dad's family does. They're like all really super duper rich. And then my mom's side of the family have struggled their entire life. Like everybody. Nobody got to be what they wanted to be on my mom's side. And it's traumatizing for me to try and change that narrative for myself and not be able to do it either, even just because I was born into a family that wasn't able to do very much for themselves, I think, or and those problems don't happen in Europe, okay? Like people get to be whatever they want. Like if you want to work in retail, you work in retail. Everybody that worked in retail up in Copenhagen, they had a smile on their face. They're like, yeah, I'm exactly where I want to be. I don't want to be in academia. I love selling clothes. This is what I want to do. You go in a retail shop here in Canada, and people are like, I fucking hate my job. I wish I was a doctor. and they can't afford it. Like, the people who get to be doctors in Canada are people who just do it because it's money, and they can afford it, and it makes money. And then they all treat their clients like it's one problem per visit. And they're all fucking dollars of change. And, I need to come and reschedule and give them $1 every single time, so they could write it off and get money each time that I visit for every single problem. When all these things need to be dealt with now, not tomorrow, not 2 weeks from now, not in like a 6-week, couple other day. No. There are a lot of issues that I have with the healthcare system. There's a lot of issues that I have with the justice system. There's a lot of issues that I have with the education system. And there are videos that I have. And I believe that all of it kind of falls under classism. I think that there are people who are born into wealthier families that are less affected by discrimination. There are like I was telling about earlier, there are even people, there are wars between tribes, like still, just because of perhaps, selling all the resources off, or like becoming, gas stations and becoming as white as possible and consuming everything on their land and selling it all off. Like up where I'm from, there's a lot of conflicts. One of them did that, and everybody's mad at them for it. And they're like, well, we were forced to. Our children have evolved, and they can't do anything outside of this tribe, and they're tired of living here. And this is the only way that they can survive, is with this money. And if we don't do this, they're going to hate us, basically. And the elders didn't want to do it. But the new generations are like, well, we can't survive. We can't live off this. We can't get our jobs. We can't get university. We can't do this. We can't do that. It's sad. Like, all of it is just really sad. And there's a lot of things that I need to do for the First Nations, things that I've experienced. But, like, I don't expect to do all of it. I just want to tell my story as somebody who's mixed race, who's seen things very differently, who's been, I've been sort of telling my stories since as long as I can remember, and like I've always been the first person, like back in the day anyway, that talked about anything First Nations at school, and like it was strange. And now you just get racist comments back, and it's really sad. It's really sad, and all on the news, and it's just I've lost a lot of friends, like especially when there was the pipeline protests, and I've lost so many friends just because of how they responded to things like that just so easily, like running people over, and it was just fucking crazy. Anyways, So that's a lot of information, but I've recorded everything on like I everything that I have a complaint about. I've tried my best to put it in date because it's all sort of interwebbed and it is all relevant. So I think it would be most efficient for everybody to look at this as just one lawsuit and that there are all of these interwebbed things. And I don't know how to deal with this because there is a federal level and a provincial level, and there are some private institutions as well. So it's difficult for me to see this as one simple lawsuit with the way that the current system is set up. So it's yeah, like that's something that I need advice on, and I need somebody to put it together and to have this done in writing. And I want to like create a contract between the adjudicator or whoever is governing the adjudicator or whatever the standard may be. I want a list signed. I want everything that I've submitted. I'm going to create like a table of contents, and I want it signed that everything has been reviewed, in full, and before adjudication, because it's imperative that people understand how many things were going on at the same time for them to understand the kind of person that I've become today. This like ultra triggered, like super triggered. And with the autism, it is explosive. So it's not my fault. I shouldn't be treated like a threat. In fact, that's when I need the most amount of help and reassurance and to feel safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what to do. I don't know who's going to do anything. I don't even know, like nobody, I've been emailing you guys so many times and I just keep getting this, and like you'll see this too, like you'll see how many times I have been passed off to somebody else. Like I can't even tell you how many times I've talked about this. And it got to a point where I'm like, you know what I'm going to do now? I'm just going to record my story that I'm telling on the phone, like this one right now that we're recording. I'm going to post it on YouTube, and then I'll send the person that they're calling, like they'll refer me to someone, and then I'll just send them the link, and then they don't want to watch it. I'm like, oh, YouTube is a threat? What is it? Oh, you don't have time, or you don't want to, or I get every excuse in the book. Nobody is taking accountability for the problems in my life in positions where they're actually supposed to. And I have a human rights issue with the Human Rights Tribunal telling me that I can't swear, or telling me that I should behave a certain way, or telling me that I don't deserve service if I'm not delivering the message in a way that is like packaged in this little sweet bow made of glass. Like, I'm sorry. No. Not everybody you talk to is going to be like that. I'm sorry. This is the job you signed up for, sweetie. You should somebody should have talked to you about that. Maybe you get better vacation or like better benefits, or like 6 weeks off a year, but like you don't complain. And you certainly take it. This is the job you're going to be getting. This is like, you are dealing with traumatized people. Treating them like they don't deserve a resolution? Wow. I mean, at a place like this, too, is just like the ultimate suicidal mission. Like, that actually made me want to kill myself. Your colleague, or whoever your freaking manager is, whoever it was that I talked to, that thing dead inside. And I'm sorry, she is. And yeah, we need people that are dead inside, and I'm going to say this on record too, because we do need these types of people, but these people should not be dealing with social issues where you are required to connect to people. Like, this is a social climate, social responsibility. You can't be antisocial. Like, there should be a requirement. You have to be able to associate and understand and empathize and be compassionate and understand where people's anger is coming from and not take it personally. Like, I don't even know what. She called me out of nowhere, too. Like, mission with a bitch. Like, that's what her mission was, just to piss me off. And then her email, did you read her email? Has anybody read her email? Because I had that for days. Did you read her email?
Yeah.
Talking down to me like some kid? I'm not her child. She's not my mother. She doesn't tell me what I deserve at the Human Rights Tribunal. That just pissed me right off. Anyway, she should be fired. She needs to find another job. Doctor, she can do law where she does not have to deal with social issues like, real estate. That'd be a good spot for her. And I'm sorry, we need everybody in this world to work together. We need to stop, and I'm trying to normalize antisocial. I'm trying to normalize psychopathy. I'm trying to normalize autism. I'm trying to normalize paranoia and schizophrenia. I want people to not be offended when I call them antisocial. You're not associating, you're not able to connect beyond your own heart at all. Like, just nothing there, nothing. Like, you need a lot of those people, surgeons. There are tons of people that really have to have those types of personalities, brains. It's a different kind of brain. We need them. I can't do that kind of shit. My empathy. I connect. I feel everything. Oh my god, I can't even listen to somebody else's story without immediately submerging myself into that experience, possibly because I've already been in that situation, and just trying to be there and listen, because I know what it's like, and I feel it, and I'm there, and I listen, and I let them anger. They swear, they do whatever they want. They don't break shit when that's too far, but there is a limit. But verbal, aggressive, no. People are steaming mad. I let it go. I don't take that personal. They're not mad at me. They're mad at the situation. They're mad at the system that's training you to do this. They're mad at the policies that restrict you. They're mad at the person that's funding you, that's not giving you enough money to deal with all these cases. All of it. And that's where my anger comes from. And hiring people that don't have a heart in positions where you absolutely require one. Okay? You can't just wake up one day and be like, I want to be a human rights lawyer. No, honey. No, honey. You can't be antisocial and working on social suits. That ain't a working matter. And there are too many lawyers who are conditioned to be antisocial, I think, as well. Because it's a learned trait. It's not something that you're born with. And that needs to change too. It's unacceptable. And I've had a lot of lawyers who look at people as dollar per hour. And they're not even doing what they're doing. They talk about all of these, they want to be part of all of these human rights issues in their marketing strategy, but they don't live by them. If you don't make a nice, comfortable dollar per hour for them, they're not interested. And they try and coerce you too. If things are this isn't my first time suing somebody. And my mother and my grandmother both taught me how to do this. I've kind of been doing this my whole life. And I've worked at a law firm, and I've done collections and fraud, and I've done recovery. I've done corporate finance for a long time, and it's very similar. And then I did landscape architecture and design, and that's all just a bunch of contracts too. And I understand that there are exceptions to everything, and I understand that we can always do better than yesterday. And I know that contracts change overnight, and I know that policies change overnight, and I know that this is something that needs to be considered an emergency, because the life expectancy for people with autism is like 35, and the majority of us are killing ourselves. And I've tried to kill myself multiple times, and nobody fucking gives a shit. And people are like, oh, we'll get you a police officer, we'll get you... I'm like, no, I don't trust them. They don't help me. Don't send them. And they make it worse. And they sent CMHA. They tell me I'm too much time for them, and they can't do anything. Waste of time there. I don't have a family doctor. ER rips me off the bed. You know, like, it's really fucking tragic. So... it all needs to be put on record. I need to be compensated for every single thing. And I need new policies put in place. And I need people trained, like mandatory training. That's the number one thing. And not just for me. I'm talking about people with schizophrenia. Like, I don't know if we need to relabel that as well. But, like, there's all these stigmas associated to people. Like, people should be proud of, if they're in the right job and not negatively affecting people. You know, like Trump, for example. You know, you can't have an entire team of psychopaths running a country. You know what I mean? Like, that's not good. So it's like you do need some diversity there. You know, you can't have a bunch of empaths either. That'd be a fucking nightmare too. I wouldn't want that messy country either. You need some balance, and it's sad that that you have all these people in the wrong roles, perhaps, or and they're not excelling because, you know, they're disconnected from doing their job, or perhaps too much, or I don't know. I think that should be, our brain types need to be looked at much better. They need to be something that is made proud of. Like my culture, autism was something that would have been looked at as not a disorder. You know, schizophrenia would not have been a disorder. These could have been people who were the healers. And it's sad to see this westernization and to be such a victim of it today. And to not only that, but to have people in my own culture also have been conditioned to also feel that way as well. And it's... And nobody talks about it. Nobody here... It's just... And I'm done educating people, okay? That's another thing. I want to be paid for educating people. That's not my fucking job. Oh my God. I am so fucking tired of holding everybody else's hand through coronavirus, through First Nations, through autism, through all of it. Through being gay, all of it. All of it. All of it. Okay? I'm tired of being told that I need to be normal in order to get everything that I deserve. That I need to stop acting the way that I am. Or, you know, like, that has to stop. I better not, after I am done, I will never see another motherfucking sign in a public system ever again that says, no swearing, we do not tolerate song. Hello, I'm in the motherfucking emergency room. I could be dealing with a meltdown. I could be suicidal, which I was. I could be dealing with some really fucking traumatizing things. And you want me to be like Little Miss Peach? No, honey. No, honey. You wanna kick me out and call the police and charge me for trespassing? Are you serious? No, honey. No, you need to get stronger doctors. Okay, those bitches are weak. Weak. Can't handle an active meltdown? Who are they? Can't handle an active meltdown in a emergency room. Come on. Who are these people? Do they actually want to be doctors? Do they? Do they? I don't think so. They need to be fired. All of them. Put somewhere else. Go on administration. You go be admin doctor. No more people facing for you, sweetie. You're not social for that. You may be charming, but you can't connect. Okay, there's no... ER might not be right. Especially dealing with someone who's autistic. He should have been trained. I asked multiple times for someone trained in autism. I went in with all my disclosures. I did absolutely everything I could to prevent a meltdown. I did everything I could. I should not have been treated the way that I was. And I continuously see policies change because of me, so I know that it's possible. And I know that lawsuits get that done the fastest. And people keep calling me crazy for these lawsuits. And I'm really tired of that too. I'm really tired of this narrative that we have that says that suing the government is unnatural. Like, that is the only way that things get done. I have been knocking on doors and complaining for too long. And as soon as I say that I'm going to sue them, oh, look, all these policies are changing, the ones that I asked for, like, last year. Oh, wow, that's fun. Oh, wow, that's fast. Looks like they don't want to get sued by a lot of people. Or they want to stop exposure, which is basically what I want to do with this lawsuit, is so that everybody understands that they may be exposed to further lawsuits, and they most likely will, and I'm looking forward to people being compensated as well. And I'm looking forward to people seeing this and seeing perhaps justice being served, and that people with autism not only get trained to be normal, but that everybody else gets training on autism. Because I'm tired of being misunderstood and trying to learn everything about all these normal people all my life. I'm tired of it. Normal people need to be less lazy. And they call me the sensitive one when I have been... No. No. No, 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 no. No more of that. Neurotypicals, they may be the majority. I don't even think they are. I don't even think there is a majority brain type. But this whole hierarchy of brain types is over, hopefully, with this lawsuit. And yeah, it's unprecedented. So that's another thing too. Like, people are like, "Oh, well, I've never seen that kind of lawsuit before." I'm like, honey, that's not like that's never been done before. There are firsts of things. And people just look at me like I'm crazy. So that needs to stop. And people back away from me. I have lost a lot of friends because of this. It's so crazy. I'm down to... and I have been people have been really fucking abusive towards me out of nowhere because I've been vocal about my lawsuits against the Ministry of Health or Justice or Education system. And people think I'm fucking crazy. Like, and back away from me and are like, actually, they actually feel threatened by me, by knowing me, like, and are embarrassed to fucking know me and talk shit about me. Like, what the fuck is that? No more of that. I'm gonna be fucking apologized to for the government for spitting that narrative in everybody's face too. Like, y'all are gonna fucking give me a badge, bitch. People are gonna be like, oh yeah, okay, Aram's doing the right thing. We better fix this right now. And show other people that it's okay to challenge the government. Because this whole narrative of backing people away and making people afraid to challenge the government is some of the most oppressive motherfucking shit I've ever seen in my life. And it's gotta end. And this Canadian government is under active colonization. Okay? So it's gotta stop too. Like, all of it. Like, I'm tired of it. White people handling Aboriginal resources, all that shit. I'm tired of it. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. It doesn't make sense. And people are so willing to believe whatever they hear. And I actually do my research. And people don't even trust me. I don't even understand. So I think I'm done. This has been an hour, right? Do you have all of my links? What emails do you have?
I'm pretty sure we have everything that you sent us.
Oh, good. Do you have? There's been some new YouTube videos. There's 3 new ones that I haven't posted yet in relationship to the London police dealing with David Russell. I don't want to go there. So that's that. Yeah. You have everything. Okay. So, what's next? Like, am I gonna get it? When can I get a court case? Can I get it? And can I get everything that I've asked for?
Well, I think in terms of, like, we don't have the authority to merge cases. So that, I mean, we don't know how to do that.
That's a complicated one.
We don't have any authority to do it.
That's complicated, though. I get that.
Yeah, it's pretty complicated. So if you file an application with the Human Rights Tribunal, as you may know, then at some point, the party that you filed against they're going to file their side of the story, and then the tribunal will send you a copy of whatever they file, and then at some point the tribunal will reach out to the parties to see if everybody's willing to go to mediation, and if you're not, then the next stage is that the tribunal puts your case in a queue to go to a hearing. And so if you let's say you change your mind about mediation, or if you just want to go to a hearing, what'll happen when you get a notice that has a date and a time for those proceedings, you can call us back and tell us when those proceedings are scheduled, and then we set you up with a lawyer to help you with, prepare for those proceedings, and then if you want us to represent you, you can talk to the lawyer about representation during your preparation session. And if they offer you a retainer, there's no fee in the retainer because we don't charge for our services. So if you go to a mediation, that means that you're going to just be going through settlement negotiations.
I know that. I will not be going through any mediation. I know that wholeheartedly. I really regret being... Yeah, there's no settlements going forward ever again. I was in a very vulnerable situation at one point, and that's in the records too. Yeah, settlements are no good. Settlements don't do anyone good. Don't do me good. Don't do anyone good. Don't do anyone good. I want everything to be put on public record. Yeah,
that's what happens after the hearing. So,
yep.
So the hearing is, when you put on your evidence, and both sides do, and then...
Can we do that in writing, or do we have to do that in... because I would prefer to have accommodations to do that with just the evidence that I've already submitted. And if I could even record something or prepare a letter in writing for my official statement. Because I don't want to... The problem that I have here is that what I foresee, based on your first bit of advice there, is I see, I don't know, maybe, 10 cases. That's underestimating, I think. Because I can't... When I look at the Ministry of Education, I've talked to the people, the directors in certain areas, and they tell me that they're funded by the Ministry of Education and that there are all these policies in place. So is it in my best interest to just go with the Human Rights Tribunal towards the Ministry of Education for all of my issues with the education system, OSAP, and the university that I went to, and then there's also the National Student Loan Service Center. So is that going to be the federal Human Rights Tribunal, or can I, so these are all where I'm having the most trouble with. So for me, thinking about having to drive and prepare myself both physically to represent myself at all of these different cases while traumatized, it seems really unrealistic for me, and I'd rather die than do all of that work. So I'm going to be asking for a lot of accommodations, and I think I deserve that, unless I have a lawyer.
You just you ask for your accommodations at the tribunal, because they're the ones who are going to be hearing the case, right?
That's good then. Have you seen things done in writing? Because the Landlord and Tenant Board is doing everything in writing for me right now, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you just basically ask for what you want, or, and provide the, whatever. I mean, they may ask for, some evidence that you need whatever accommodation you're requesting. So you just provide that. Maybe it's verbal, maybe it's,
right,
a doctor's note or whatever. But whatever it is, like, I don't work in the tribunal, so that's why I'm stumbling and can't really say. But I know that they have an accommodation process.
Okay. And then, so if, is it realistically then, so, like, I know that my issue is at the root. In my heart, I know, based off of the experience that I've had with doctors across the province, with, the justice system provincially, there's, a lot of holes in it, and there are holes within the education system. But there are provincial and federal issues. There are multiple hospitals. There are multiple doctors. There are, how do I approach that with the Human Rights Tribunal? Do I create a application for each individual, for each entity, or do I just say, I am going after the Ministry of Health. Here are all of the narratives within the umbrella of my healthcare services that I am, dissatisfied with, or that my rights have been violated. And I feel deprived across the healthcare system in Ontario, and here is all of the evidence that I have. What's the amalgamation of occurrences there? Can I do it with the Ministry of Health and include all of that information there?
So, yes, if you file an application with the Human Rights Tribunal, it doesn't even matter what entity you're filing against. Basically, what you're required to do is to show the connection between the unfair treatment and a code ground.
Right.
And that's what makes it a human rights case.
Yes, I understand.
But generally speaking, if it's related to a treatment plan or something like that may have implications for a code ground, such as disability. Sometimes we urge you to go, like, if you're arguing about treatment, like medical treatment,
okay,
then it may be more expeditious to go through the, like for doctors and nurses to go through their colleges.
Yep. I know that. This is all about being denied, mostly access. I definitely do not think there's any malpractice. I think there is a deficit in what doctors feel trained on, and their lack of comfort or lack of training, really, and being treated in a human rights fashion, like not my medical treatment, but my I'm treated differently because of my autism. I'm given less attention. I'm treated like I'm too much. I'm treated like a threat. I'm treated like I don't deserve health care.
Right. So, you can file an application based on those things, and just showing how it's connected to disability, and
then I will do the same thing with my education, feeling like I do not deserve access to education based off of my class, and it's and just seeing the struggle in myself and being forced into sex work to get my degree, and all of the things that I've had to sacrifice to get things that are handed off to people who have money, and there's a lot of issues there with my access to university.
But those, that's not really a code. That's not something that's covered by the Ontario Human Rights Code.
It will be. Okay, so I'm actually...
Is it related to disability or...
No, class. Do you know what class is?
Yeah, but that's...
Oh, it will
be.
It doesn't really... But it will be.
Okay.
It will be. Do you think that class is... It's one of the most prominent things that we discriminate people for?
Well...
Are you going to disagree?
Not exactly. All I'm going to say is that...
Class separates the same people in a family. Class separates the same people in the same country of all the same race. Class separates...
I guess I understand those things. I embody that. It's just that the tribunal only has the authority or quote-unquote jurisdiction to deal with issues that are covered by the Ontario Human Rights Code.
So does the tribunal... Does the tribunal think that class is acceptable discrimination?
I don't think that's the questions that they deal with. I think that they only deal with what's covered by the Ontario Human Rights Code.
Well, I'm going to add it to the list.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be added to the list. Classism is rich in society, and it's got to end. Gosh, gated communities, people treated like shit if you don't look a certain way. Even rich people are discriminated against, the separation, the division, class is what divides everybody. And for the Human Rights Tribunal to not recognize that on record, or to not train people to recognize class in any kind of discrimination case, is, I think, negligence. What do you think?
Well, all I know is that that's probably... It's going to be an uphill battle.
I know.
Convince the tribunal to deliver a decision based on something that's not covered by the Ontario Human Rights Code.
Well, maybe I'll sue them for not being qualified. Maybe they're all of a certain class and there's not enough diversity in the room, and maybe they need to be represented, and maybe they need to defend themselves on public record. I'm not afraid of anybody, and I'm not afraid to put anybody in their place. And I already know that there's a lot of people that are in the wrong spot, and I know that a lot of people don't have first-hand experience in different classes, and that they're making decisions for other classes without that first-hand experience, and that's going to end. Okay? There are white people making decisions for people with First Nations. There are neurotypicals making decisions for people with autism. There are people who have been born into wealth who are making decisions for people who are living on the street. You think that's acceptable?
I don't think that the Ontario Human Rights Code deals with all of those issues.
But we're going to. And if nothing gets done after, then it will be put on public record, and it will just start the steps. Someone else is going to see this, and it will be a bridge to the next one, and to the next one. But I'm not stopping. This is going to change. I am not happy, and things change all the time. I'm not satisfied with the human rights justice system or the tribunal or what they deem is what is righteous for them to put on the list of what is human rights and what isn't. Okay?
Well, they're not the ones who did that. That would be the
legislators?
Parliament.
Okay, well...
Yeah,
is it all... Well, how do I... this is how I sue them, isn't it? Isn't this how I sue legislators to fix it? This is the process. This is how to get it done, sweetie. I can't do it any other way. I've tried every other way. They don't return my calls. Legislators do not return my calls. They ignore me. They don't return my emails. They ignore me. I'm taking them to court. Change it. Who would this be with? The Ministry of Justice? Okay, so I will sue the Ministry of Justice through the Tribunal, and we'll fix it. We will add it to the list. And if they don't fix it, we'll go to the Supreme Court. And if they don't fix it, we'll go to the United Nations. And if they don't fucking fix it, oh my god. What's next? Do you understand where I'm going?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't like people telling me that certain rights aren't deserving of the same treatment when everybody knows that classism is a big one, and so are the fact that people are speaking for other people. So white people shouldn't be speaking for black people. Okay, white people shouldn't be speaking for people of First Nations. Even people of different classes within the same culture can't really be speaking for the issues between different financial difficulties. I wouldn't trust somebody who's never been raped to speak for me about sexual assault. Okay? You want to build trust in the system? Well, you're going to have to start hiring people that have first-hand experience. And respecting that everybody has perspective on what they consider equal or how they think that they deserve to be treated. And I believe that everybody should be treated the way that they want to be treated, not the way that the government thinks that they should be treated. Anyways, so nothing has been filed. Is that correct? Has anything been done on the side of the fence on the Human Rights Tribunal? Has the Human Rights Tribunal done anything in the way of contacting anybody to get any situations in my life resolved, like a family doctor, the justice system?
No, they don't do that. The tribunal is like a court, right? So they basically hear evidence.
Okay, when I got those files done, the those two applications.
Application, yeah.
Are those going towards court?
So filing something with the application or in an application with the tribunal just means that you've delivered a complaint.
So I've done that, right?
I don't know because I don't work for the tribunal.
Okay, right? Well, I don't know where those two applications went, but those applications that I sent are to me considered my complaints and fully submitted, and I should be hearing from somebody going forward.
Right.
Like, I don't know what else I have to do.
Yeah, the tribunal, when you file something with them, they send you, I'm going to be honest, they're complete the backlog. So it takes them a while to go through everything, and then they acknowledge receipt of whatever you've sent them, and they give you a case number. And that's when you know that they've accepted the application and have put it on file, and they're starting the process. Okay, so I should just do that for everybody then, at the same time so that they have it. And I'll just slowly work on that. One by one, I'll just knock them off. Stantec and my landlord are done. And I think it would be best to just do the Ministry of Education as one, the Ministry of Health as one, and the Ministry of Justice as one. And then I have, but I mean, what happened at the university hospital was extremely traumatizing. Like, getting ripped off my hospital bed and tortured on the ER floor in front of all those doctors was probably one of the worst things that's ever happened to me in my entire life, and I've been raped. So, to say that I felt more violated in that room, in the emergency room, than I did in my own home being raped by someone who I was dating, who didn't respect my wishes. You know what I'm saying?
So that one I think should be separate. That one, University Hospital, needs to be on its own. I think that's better. So that's only like a few. 1, 2, 7 or 8? Yeah. Much better than doing, you know. And then this is the Ontario Tribunal, correct?
Well, not for me, but yeah, I'm talking about the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal, where if you're filing against on the Provincial Ministry of Labor and Justice and Education, that would be the Human Rights Tribunal.
And then if there's anything that is governed federally within the health, education, or justice system,
file that with the Canadian Human Rights Commission.
Okay, yes. Like taxes, that would be the Canadian Revenue Agency, which is the Attorney General for federal, which is like the commission, or whatever his name is, the position, sorry. That would be the Justice Federal, I think. And then my National Student Loan Service would be, the federal, right? And then the OSAP would be provincial. And then the universities would be provincial or private?
That would, the university hospital or university?
Right, no, like if I had, but we'll just have to put it all on there, and it's really just it's really just the
universities are under provincial usually.
Okay, good. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else, and then there's my landlords. That's through the Ontario Human Rights Tribunal too.
Yeah, landlord tenant board.
And sexual assault, there's no.
Assault is a criminal.
Sexual assault.
Criminal law.
If the police aren't doing anything about it, what then?
If it's related, if you believe it's related to your race, disability.
I was 17.
Sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, then that would be under the Ontario Human Rights Code.
I was underage, so vulnerable, and I didn't know about my autism at the time, but people with autism are extremely susceptible to sexual assault because we're very vulnerable and gullible and don't really pick up on threats very well before it's too late. And so and I don't know why I've been sexually assaulted so many times, but it's quite common in the autistic community, unfortunately. And I do need that discussed more. Like, people with autism need to be protected if they're more vulnerable against sexual assault. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
As a child, I didn't know those vulnerabilities. I didn't have any way to protect myself. Nobody was looking out for me. And so, to me, like, it is a human rights issue. But I don't know who to place that ownership on. The police aren't doing anything about it. I just reported Dave Russell, who assaulted me in the Boys and Girls Club when I was underage, January 2021. And they've just responded to me in May saying that they're not going to charge these people. And that's just not enough for me. That's just not enough. It's insane. It's insane. So I don't know how to fix that, but that's a huge gap in my life because I've felt consciously guilty my entire life that these perpetrators, these predators, are out. Like, I've spent my entire life guilty that I did not report them to begin with. Yeah. I didn't even really know about the first one until you grow up and put it together and just kind of like, oh shit. Yeah, that was bad, that guy should not have been doing that at all. And that's, I think it actually eats you up more when you grow up. Like when you start realizing that that doesn't happen to everybody, you go, oh, okay. Oh, and then you start to, blame yourself and um, wish you had done more, or wish you had someone that stopped it, or um, anyways, that I don't know what to do with. Maybe I'll just do that civilly at the Crown Attorney's office. That's probably just civil, right? Maybe that's just civil.
Yeah, it probably is just civil. Or I don't want to say it like that.
No. I get that, and I think where the I think more when I discuss my lawsuit with the Ministry of Health, I can discuss how autistic people are more vulnerable to sexual assault, and that I didn't have enough support in the healthcare system for that. I think. Do you know what I mean? Or I don't know who is responsible for that. It's kind of like interconnected. Like I think even it's an education piece, it's a justice piece, and it's a healthcare piece. So I can definitely bring that up in all three. And even as an adult, I'm susceptible to sexual assault, and it's quite traumatizing. And when you join all these autistic communities. I've started to become extremely vocal about my past, and I've become a lot more comfortable talking about it. It's still extremely traumatizing, but I'm more comfortable talking about all of these assaults, and I get all these other people who are not comfortable talking about it, direct messaging me, telling me about their story, and it's overwhelming. It is extremely, extremely overwhelming to see how many men and people in the autistic community come up to me who tell me, wow, like, you're so brave, I've had that happen in this way or that way, and I'm afraid to tell anyone. Like, they tell me I don't even tell my boyfriend. My boyfriend doesn't even know, or my partner, or whoever. And I'm just like, whoa, that's kind of like the one person I've always told, just because I'm not the same kind of like when I'm having a sexual relationship with somebody, you can definitely tell that I've been abused. So I don't want them to get the wrong idea, like I'm uncomfortable or something. Like my response and my reaction mechanisms and things like that, and like how I respond to things is not quite normal. So I always have to kind of give out a little bit of a disclaimer, like, hey, I have some PTSD, and like I can't handle this and I can't handle that, and and that doesn't happen, and so we kind of clear those moments. But if I don't talk about those things, like, I don't know, it just makes everybody uncomfortable, really. So yeah. That's that. I think I have a pretty clear image of what I need to do. I just need confirmation that the other two cases have started. I have case numbers though, like you said, so given the case numbers, I'm going to assume that that means I have to expect some sort of receipt, confirmation, that
you should get something from the tribunal that says that so once you have a case number, that means that they're processing your application. And the next stage is that what they'll do is they'll serve a copy of your application on the respondent.
Yep.
And then the respondents will file something, and then the tribunal will send you a copy of whatever their response is.
Great.
So as soon as you get something from the tribunal that, you can call us back to say, okay, I've gotten, this, what do I need to do next? That kind of thing.
Okay. So I should just get these, and this might be I think you've already answered this question actually. Never mind.
No problem.
I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
ask about the accommodations again, like kind of, but we'll have to get there when I have the tribunal to
You're
discuss
right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So
You're right. Yeah.
yeah, I just need to get all those other applications in. Then the format that I submitted them, I guess, was acceptable. I never got any. Would they tell me? Would they not file? Like, would they? Let me think here. No, because I have submitted a case before that they told me was not acceptable and they deleted it. And then I submitted the form that they sent me, and then I got a case number. So I guess it is legit now. So I just have to keep up with that same format that I did, and
Yeah.
prepare each case like that.
Yeah, with
And
the Human Rights Tribunal, yeah,
great.
and I think the Canadian, like the Canadian Human Rights Commission, they have a complaint. I've not looked at their complaint form, but it's almost, it's kind of the same.
Sure.
Uh, so as long as you're putting the information on their form, then it should be okay.
Okay. All right. All right. Um, and then refer them to evidence like the discovery, I guess, is what I did basically. I did summaries, really quick summaries where it applies here, 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 according to my rates, and then the discovery, like here's a summary, find it in the discovery, here's a date, kind of thing like that. Um, and so instead of me creating this huge summary of things that are spoken for on their own in the evidence, I'm just trying to kind of give a direction plan or a table of contents, more or less, and how they are affecting my rights. And so that'll be fine then, I guess, going forward. That was okay, good. Yeah, and definitely doing things in right. I don't even know because I'm still really mouthy in writing too. So there's really no way for me to not get triggered to be swearing or high strung or whatever the name people want to call me, because I don't think I'm that at all. And other people that are autistic actually, like, there's a lot of people that fucking love this about me. So I don't understand what people are so sensitive to. But like, I really need that to stop. And you've been really different. I don't remember our first conversation, but I did record it. But I remember being extremely traumatized at the time, and not being handled with care, I guess. And I think we talked before.
Yeah,
I blacked out.
briefly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we did, and I don't think it went well. But you've been very patient this time, so I appreciate that. But I'm like, I can't control it. Like, I can't control my um, fire under my ass. I don't even know what it is. I love it. I love it. Like, I'm impatient. I have a life to live. I have to get through this. My rights are violated. I have every right to be angry. I have every right to be the way that I am. It's completely normal. In fact, I think I'm actually behaving better than most people in my situation. Like, when you look at the whole picture of everything that I've been through, it's a miracle I'm alive. So, like, people should just be grateful that I have all this experience and wisdom to share to help people stop these things from happening to other people. Like, hey, wow, this guy's got a lot to offer. Not like, oh my god, this guy's too much work. Oh no, no, no. Like, people treat me like such scum, and I shouldn't be that. I have so much to offer. Um, so yeah, I don't know who is going to talk to that girl, but I definitely have asked to speak to her manager multiple times, and nobody has. But everybody across Canada, after my lawsuits with the tribunal, are going to be coached on discriminating people during meltdowns, traumatic episodes, and swearing. Like, it's language, like being discriminated against for my language. Like, I'm sorry that I'm not like some proper bitch. Like, I'm sorry. No, I will not be. I will not be. No. I don't expect you to be some hoodlum and start talking like me. No, I'm not holding your hand to be like me. No, no, I'm not. I'm not asking you to start swearing. No, I'm not. That would make me feel more comfortable, but I'm not expecting it. I don't tell you that you don't deserve things because you're not delivering things the way that I like. No. It goes both ways. You know? I'm more comfortable around people that are less proper. Like, I don't feel comfortable around that. I'm not even comfortable around my own grandmother. My grandmother makes me uncomfortable. Like, you know? Anyways. That's all gotta end. So, and every sign that I see in hospitals and all these places, like, people need to start understanding what to do with conflict and anger and not take it personally. And understand that somebody could be dealing with something, and all you're there for is to explain something or provide a service or perhaps even comfort them, you know? Like, yeah, that's part of the job. That's why you're getting paid. You're always going to have upset people. It's part of the job. Not everybody is going to be the same. And to expect that everybody is the same is discriminatory. You know, to expect every single customer that walks in or every single public, especially when it's coming from a public system like a hospital, telling me that I'm a trespasser because I'm not fitting what they expect. Meanwhile, somebody next door who's got dementia, who's doing the exact same thing I am, but they're like, oh, it's okay because he's got dementia. Meanwhile, I am with autism, totally expected to behaving the way that I am, but kicked out, treated like a threat, denied access to basic health care. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, so I will be so happy if all of this eventually gets on public record. I don't really care how long it takes, but I want to be part of the solution. I want to be part of, you know, making things better. I'm not here to ruin anyone's life. I know that my motives are here to help people. And I may sound like a really angry person all the time, but I'm expected to be angry. And that is a completely normal reaction for someone who is in my situation. To be angry. That is absolutely expected. So I'm not going to hide that. I'm not going to hide my anger. That's asking for too much. You know? But yeah. Has anybody been talked to about that?
No.
Has anybody been coached? Have you guys had are you guys going to have a meeting about that? You should. I want that. I want you guys to be coached on people with autism and trained with people who are actively traumatized, people who are swearing. You can't just cut them off and tell them that I don't want you talking like that. Oh, that's how people end up killing themselves. Like, you're their last hope. This office is their last straw. That was my last straw. Like, it's a miracle I'm still alive again. It's crazy. It really is. And I don't think anybody really understands that, but people go missing because of actions like that. Do you understand that? Do you understand your contributions? Like, you guys are a team. You guys are supposed to be protecting the rights of people. You know, you can't be telling that they don't deserve that service because their delivery is not how you want. That's like, so yeah, everybody all the way up to the top needs to be talked about that. And yeah, a lot of people look at me like I'm too much work. But hey, you know what? It's too much work living in this society as well, for me. And I don't think that's fair. So, yeah. I don't really know what else to ask. Those are really all the most important things for me. I think that I needed to know about. Really, this application process has been extremely traumatizing too. I really wanted somebody else to do it. I should have a lawyer. Like, the fact that I don't have a lawyer is appalling. But I will discuss that with the Human Rights Tribunal because I have been denied access to justice so many times for various reasons related to my human rights. So we will definitely get through that. And I feel pretty confident that I don't have to write up all of them because I don't really think I don't think it's really necessary to go in to each entity and sue them directly. I think that if we create better policies, that will be broader and help every hospital or every police station or every university, and people will have incentives, perhaps, to be better as opposed to. And if the funding comes publicly, that's where I need to focus all of my attention to, and it's that money is not being invested the way that we need. So my challenge, I have to challenge that, because a lot of the complaints I get from people at these public services are funding issues. Well, we don't have funding for that. We don't have funding for this, or we don't have capacity. Those are the two biggest problems, and capacity is a funding issue. So at the boiling point, it's all funding. That's all legislation, and okay. Well, it's still a lot of work, but at least I haven't been traumatized by those calls. So thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Yeah. And then I guess they'll have everything. All of the people that I'm suing will have everything that I submitted, right? And then I'll just have to wait for that Stantec.
Did you say Stantec?
The one, I guess there's one urgent thing I forgot to write down that I need to talk about that just came up. So my employer is threatening to fire me if I don't fill out these forms to show my mental or physical inability to work in the midst of suing them, both civilly and through the Human Rights Tribunal. Now, a doctor needs to fill out these forms, but I do not have access to a doctor. I have been searching for a family doctor since 2017, and I haven't been able to find one through Healthcare Connect ever since. And I've escalated up to multiple managers, and even the director in London Health Integration Network has been harassing this one doctor, and he still won't take, or she still won't take me. So nobody wants to look at me. I need these forms filled out to protect my employment. I don't know what to do. When I went to ER to get these forms filled out, they refused, and I told them that I wasn't leaving until they were filled out, and they ripped me off my hospital bed and tortured me on the ER floor. So it's like, what am I supposed to do? I am being threatened by my employer while denied access to something that I need to stop being threatened. My employer knows about this human rights issue, so they're taking advantage of the fact that I'm vulnerable, and they have multiple times now. So it's just like, what am I supposed to do in situations where my human rights issues are threatening my life, my employment, my roof, really urgent things like this?
Well, it sounds like the issue with not having access to medical care and, the place where you went to get the forms filled out, that would be under the Ministry of Health.
But how do I get these things sped up? Because I'm under all of these other deadlines that are threatening my employment, do you know what I mean? Like for a while there, my landlord was threatening my health too, but I don't know who talked to her, but somebody must have. I don't know who. Maybe she got my file, and I don't know. I just wish I knew. Do you know what I mean? I wish somebody was like, okay, we're going to try and be better now. But she is, so I see it. So we're going to get there. We're going to get there. And I reward people for improving. So I I'm not here to become conclusive over everybody. I want everybody the opportunity. I want everybody to have the opportunity to be better. And so
finding a family doctor or a nurse practitioner is the issue?
that's really, and it's been a really long time. It's been a really long time. Like, you can talk to, I don't know if I can give you third-party access to the London Healthcare Integration Network. Like, if you want to talk to them, like, they're...
We can't.
Okay.
That's the problem. So,
I need an advocate.
Just quickly, did you say that you had already tried through Healthcare Connect?
Yeah. No, like, I know them real well. Like, real well. Yeah, like, no, the director there in London Healthcare Integration Network, Healthcare Connect, has been dealing with me now. And she's actually actively calling these people, and, like, they're hunting a doctor for me. So, but it's unsuccessful. Doctors don't want me. Because I am walking into the doctor's room with a pile of problems that have collected over 3 years that are quite emergency, and everybody's like, oh my god, too much work. And they don't want me. They don't even call me back for an interview. I tell them what I need to have done, and they don't even respond. It's like I don't exist. It's really crazy. So I don't know what to do. These are really emergency things to me. Like, my employer is telling me that if I don't have this form filled out by June 30th, that they're gonna fire me, and I'm out of control of this. This is out of my control, and my employer shouldn't even be doing that with all the information that they have on file with me. And I've been full disclosure with them too, and they should not be doing this. And I had the same problem. This is the second time that they've done this. And they know that I've had issues finding a doctor since September of 2019. So they are no stranger to this, and they are perfectly using this to their advantage. The fact that I can't have access to a doctor, they are using it against me, which is criminal, in my opinion. So I don't know what to do about that, but it scares me a lot. And the landlord would have been. I don't know what I'm going to keep everybody posted up on the landlord, but that has put the first smile on my face in a really long time. Her trying to make it better suddenly. So if we get my employment, if we can get somebody to help me with healthcare. Or just, like, get that trial started. Like, I've been waiting to sue them for 2 years now, and I've been denied access to a lawyer, and it's all, like, it's really, really ugly, the mess. Like, it's a mess. It's really a mess. It's a big mess. What happened to me with Stantec employment is a disaster of a disaster, and I have done everything in my power to try and mitigate this without going to the Human Rights Tribunal. But they have also made it impossible to do this without a lawyer. And they've even used the fact that I can't access a lawyer against me too, by saying that they refuse to discuss anything without a lawyer. And I've told them that I can't get a lawyer, and they still refuse to discuss anything with me.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to those questions. It's.
Well, how do I expedite my cases?
Pardon?
How would I expedite my cases? Isn't that, like, kind of like the first option that I would think of? Wouldn't this be expedited based off of...
Yeah, so at the tribunal they have a Form 14 that you can fill out and ask for your case to be expedited. Okay.
And that's kind of the only thing you can think of too, then?
Pardon?
Is that the only thing you can think of too?
Yeah, I mean, those are the things that we do know is that that's the process that you go through the tribunal for asking them to expedite. They don't, like, us calling or writing a letter, they don't pay any attention to us because we're not applicants. We're a separate agent, right? So if an applicant wants their case to be expedited, they fill out that Form 14.
How do I get someone to do all of this for me?
You know the story. I don't know how anybody else can do it for you. I mean,
lawyers do it for people all the time. Lawyers, social workers.
Questions. It's only a few questions on the form.
Do I need proof of anything, or like doctor's notes or anything else that is required? No.
It doesn't ask. It doesn't require you to provide any documents. It's just basically you explaining why your case should be heard before anybody else.
Oh, I understand. Okay, that's pretty simple then. I really... Okay. I just need to do this. It's really hard, though. I should have a lawyer. Lawyers do this for clients all the time. I should have lawyers fighting over these cases. They should be so hungry for these cases. They're perfect wins. I would never challenge any system like this if I didn't have evidence. It's just or even if I went behind their back. You know, like some people think that they can sue somebody without giving them the opportunity to be better. I mean, you're not going to win a lawsuit like that. You can't sue someone behind their back and expect to win. You can't do that. They're going to say, I didn't know better. And the case was closed.
Do you want me to send you the Form 14?
Can you?
Really,
yeah, that'd be great.
So what's your email?
A.O.N. as in Nancy, E.I.L., so A.O'Neill, 505 at gmail.com.
Okay. All right. I'll send this Form 14 to you.
And if you get stuck on a question in it, you just call us back and then leave. Like if you don't talk to somebody right away, I mean, generally whoever answers the phone could probably help you. But if you want to talk to me again, just say, I'm having trouble with this Form 14, and Ramona said, okay.
And I'll put a note that says that
okay, thank you.
To call me.
That's nice, thank you. I appreciate that. That's helpful. Okay. Yeah, because I get overwhelmed pretty easily, or I think I do too much. I don't know. It's not too much. It's too much. I don't even know anymore. I'm tired of that word so much it hurts. Okay, so... Oh, right, I forgot to ask. This is the question I had too. It came to me. The case numbers, the case number that I got for the application, does the legal support center, you guys, do you have your own case numbers too?
We do, but it's only so that we can track. Like we don't share.
So I wouldn't be given that case number. So if I got a case number, it's for sure from the tribunal. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay, that's great. So I can just like rest on that and wait patiently and put my Form 14 in and okay, I'll get that Form 14 filled out too because they're and the other ones are less urgent. So like the only one to me that is like of urgent matter is the employment and my landlord and everything else is not really considered an emergency to me. Like my life isn't threatened, my employment, my source of income, all these things that I require to survive aren't threatened. So I have no problem being more patient with the other ones. And I know that it's not drawn out the way other cases are. I know that the Ontario Tribunal is quite efficient from what I've heard. It tries to get through things pretty quickly. Right? It's like pretty cut and dry where your rights violated, yes or no. Okay, yes. No, right? It's pretty cut and dry,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. You don't have to put on any evidence until it gets put in
okay.
for hearing. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. I can't think of anything else, so that's great. I haven't been traumatized. That's great. Like my heart has been somewhat settled this whole time. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And I will let you know if I have any questions.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I'll get this email to you in a few minutes. Okay.
Great. Okay. Thank you so much. Great.
All right.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Stay safe.
I'm trying. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.